would put the president's stamina, president's wisdom, ability to get this done on behalf of the American people against anyone on any day of the week.
Back now with the Democratic Congressman and presidential candidate Dean Phillips, it seems almost that response from the White House today was almost a response to your candidacy, saying Joe Biden's got the stamina. You think he has the stamina?
Well, I think that's something for Americans to decide. I mean,
But you're running against him. You think he's got the stamina for another 4 years?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, and that's part of why you're running.
Of course.
Yeah.
And by the way, in democracies, I would argue, having options, allowing the voters to make the choice, not to allow a handful of people in the Democratic establishment to decide who should be the nominee. There's nothing more antithetical to democracy. It's not that hard. I don't know why people are so afraid of practicing democracy. Why are we so afraid to practice the very essence of what makes the country so extraordinary and, by the way, increasingly rare? That's my message.
Let me ask you about campaign leadership. You just gave a position to Ulan Dracano, who supported efforts to defund the Minneapolis police in the wake of the killing of George Floyd.
You're talking about Alondra Cano.
Yeah, Alondra Cano, yeah.
By the way, you know, team of rivals, Abraham Lincoln's notion that if you comprise a cabinet or a team of people of disparate positions and backgrounds, you actually, A, represent the country, but most importantly, you come to better policy conclusions. And that's how my campaign will look. I have conservatives on board. I have uber liberals. She is extraordinarily talented, by the way, and she did not want to actually get rid of the police. She wants to add accretive services like social.
Now that's the defund nonsense. The defunder nonsense are always claiming, oh, we didn't want to actually eliminate the police. We just wanted to reallocate.
I get it.
Right?
But let me tell you my strategy. You know, Steve Schmidt brought me to the stance, John McCain's former campaign manager, of course, former Republican, then independent, now Democrat. Jeff Weaver, Bernie Sanders' former campaign manager, on my team. Zach Grauman, who led Andrew Yang's campaign. So my notion is, Dan, to have a campaign comprised of disparate perspectives. And when I'm in the White House, I will have a bipartisan cabinet, I will have a youth cabinet, and I will ensure that every voice in America, no matter your politics, your geography, your race, religion, your background, will be represented, because that is the root of the dysfunction in the White House, in the country right now, the lack of perspective, and surround yourself with people of different ideas.
But you know the weakest link is going to be the one that you're always held accountable for.
Of course.
I mean, that exists in politics, it exists in business, et cetera. So to simply say, well, you know, she's just one of many people.
But Dan, let me say this.
Yeah.
My career is in business. And if I surrounded myself in business with only people who thought the same thing and looked at issues the same way and only had the same ideas, no business can succeed. And by the way, in politics, that's what you do. You surround yourself to be safe with people who see everything the same way. Yes, man, yes, sir. That's how it works. I'm different. I will have people around me that have different perspectives. When I face an issue, I want to hear both extremes, and I will make the decision myself. And by the way, I make the decisions. I do not defund the police. I celebrate the police. We need to elevate the esteem. By the way, every police department in the country right now, deficient of officers, whether it's Manchester, New Hampshire, 300 shy in Minneapolis.
Major problem.
We need to celebrate teachers. We need to celebrate police officers. We have to do better. And by the way, we can, but not with the same people doing it the same way.
I'm almost out of time, but I saw you getting grilled on CNN about who is supporting you, right, among the Democrats. I don't really care who is supporting you. I'm asking about the future, which is, are you expecting, moving forward, that there will be a shift in some of the establishment, Democrats coming to support you publicly?
Oh, it'll take, well, first of all, do I care if one elected Democratic official supports my candidacy right now? Of course not. Do I care about 320 million Americans? Of course I do. And you know what? I don't burn bridges. I make it easy for every one of my colleagues to cross that bridge again when it is apparent that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will not be able to beat Donald Trump. And all I'm asking people to do is just open your eyes. Don't be deluded. Look at the numbers. I'm a proud Democrat, served in House Democratic leadership. My friends and colleagues adored me the day before I declared my candidacy. And frankly...
And now they don't?
And now it takes, you know, look we're all a family. You know how it works in a family. It'll take time, but, you know, at the end of the day, we want to beat Donald Trump. And I promise, whoever the nominee is, I intend to be it. But if it isn't, I'll get behind that person. And the only 4 people right now that are making it easier for Donald Trump, Cornel West, Jill Stein, if Joe Manchin runs, him, and Joe Biden.
Yeah, we shall see. Look, I think that you're the one running in the primary, unlike Cornel West, unlike these other folks.
Exactly, that's what you do.
And I think that Democrats may be underestimating Dean Phillips. We We shall see.
Thank
Dean
you, sir.
Phillips, thank you very much.
Good to see you, Dan.
Appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.